Let's take a look at some basic data types in Visual Basic Programming. If you don't already have a form up, create a form, drop a button on there and double click the button. And I'm going to do a dim I as integer. And I'll do a dim D as double. And S as string. And B as Boolean. Now that dim means I'm declaring a variable. The I is the name I'm giving it, and I'm referring to this as integer. Integer means a number with no decimals. Although some programming languages refer to it as decimal integer, which is a little bit confusing because decimal implies it has decimals. But here would be an example of an integer, 3. If I assign I equal 5.02, so I assign 5.02 to it, it gives me a red squiggly. Indicates, hey, you said this was an integer, a number with no decimals, but you're trying to assign a number with decimals to it. This is the idea of good programming practice, is that it automatically will stop you from doing that. You don't want to have it try to convert it. You want to convert it yourself. Now these windows will be a little bit upsetting to some people as they keep popping up, but once you get used to them, you'll love them. And you do escape and they'll just go away. Notice he's got green squigglies under them. That means that there's potentially something wrong there. If I put my mouse over that, it says unused local variable D. That means I declared D, but I didn't use it. Now double. What in the world's a double? Double means you have decimals. 5.02. Now it'll be a little bit confusing because if you assign it to 7, and I try to run this, even though there's really no code there, see no errors. It's for vast. Let me shut off a vast. Okay. So now if I run this, even if I click it, I don't get an error. Because it makes sense. You can take 7, which is an integer, and you can assign it to D. Because 7 is no different than 7.0, where it has decimals. Okay, S is a string. String can have any character. It can be A through Z, uppercase, lowercase, can be any special character. It can even be a number. I could put a number in here. Like that. That's a string. Now B is Boolean. B is going to be true or false. So I could assign it true like that. Now Boolean, in case you're wondering when's I use, that's very useful if you got a condition you're checking. If the sun is shining, true or false. S works well when you're dealing with alphanumeric characters. You got names, addresses, so forth. Integers work well if you're dealing with a number with no decimals, and you know there'll never be decimals. And then double is useful when you do have decimals. These are the 4 main ones you should focus on. You'll find some other ones available. If I start typing int, you see there's an integer 16, there's an integer 32, integer 64. And these represent a 64-bit signed integer. This one represents a 32-bit signed integer, so forth. Some of these, by using them, will allow you to have larger numbers. Some of them allow you to have smaller numbers. Why would you want a smaller number? Why would you restrict your capability there? Well, if you're trying to program for a device that doesn't have much memory, you don't necessarily want to just use the largest one you can, so you may conserve memory by using that. We're not going to focus on that too much in this class. We're going to focus on just using these 4 main ones you see here. There's also one for character, which we'll see later on in the course. But these are the main ones you'll use.